Van Andel Soccer Stadium. The MIAA encourages all of today's participants, both in competition and in the stands, to be loud, be proud, and be positive. We would like to extend a special welcome to our youth soccer teams joining us on the field. Walking out with the teams today are the USA Dobb team and the USA Borgman team. Sponsorship of the Youth Soccer Partnership is made possible through the generosity of USA Soccer. Hope College men's and women's soccer teams would like to thank them for their ongoing support. Youth teams, thanks for attending and good luck in your season. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the campus of Hope College and the Van Andel Soccer Stadium for tonight's conference matchup between the visiting Bulldogs of Adrian College and your Hope College Flying Dutchmen. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for Adrian, in goal, number 0, Spencer Brown. Number 3, Tad Davis. Number 6, Zach Combs. Number 7, Dolan Bonkowski. Number 8, Mark Proctor. Number 9, Sean Kane. Number 10, Garrett Miller. Number 11, Zachary Roller. Number 14, Jordan Miller. Number 21, Justin Tobin. And lastly for the Bulldogs, number 27, Brendan Kaziol. Adrian is coached by Charlie Edwards and assisted by Ryan McDonald. And now for your Flying Dutchman. In goal, number 22, a sophomore from Wadsworth, Illinois, Blair McCormick. Number 3, a junior from Columbus, Ohio, James Raymond. Number 4, a junior captain from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Steve Binnig. Number 6, a junior out of Columbus, Ohio, Ben Hagman. Number 9, a sophomore from Bloomington, Illinois, Dalton Brousseau. Number 10, a junior from Coast Guard City, USA, Isaac Brock. Number 11, a sophomore out of Holland, Michigan, Jack Veld. Number 14, a senior captain out of Vernon Hills, Illinois, David White. Number 15, a junior out of Grand Haven, Michigan, Christian Dalt. Number 21, a junior out of Bloomington, Illinois, Ryan Woodside. And lastly for the Flying Dutchman, number 26, a junior from Mason, Michigan, Holden Dipple. The Flying Dutchmen are coached by Dr. Stephen Smith and assisted by Leroy Schott, Brent Wyckoff, and David Hertel. Now would you all please rise to honor America, and gentlemen, remove your caps for the singing of our national anthem.
All right, folks, welcome into Van Andel Soccer Stadium here at Hope College. My name is Clayton Safey. I'm alongside Claire De Silva.
Thank you so much for having me today, Clayton.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun night of soccer here at Hope College. The Flying Dutchman against the Adrian Bulldogs, and both teams are right in the thick of the MIAA race. Hope is in sole possession of second place in the conference And Adrian is in possession of third place. So Hope comes in 5-4-1 overall, 4-1-1 in the MIAA, coming off of a win on Saturday. Adrian comes in 4-4-1 overall, 3-2-1 in the MIAA, like I said, in third place. And it should be very exciting between two of the teams in the top half of the conference that are looking to contend for the conference championship. So we're very excited to have you with us. Pretty nice night here at Van Andel Stadium.
And it'll be a great game just to see how the Dutchmen proceed. Just seeing how they attack down the sides, which has been working very well for them, and continuing that momentum on into this game today.
Absolutely, and I've watched this team quite a bit this season, and it seems like they seem to do really well when they possess the ball a lot, and like you said, attack on the sides. And they've done a tremendous job at that. We'd like to see them score for their sake a little bit more goals on some of the opportunities that they have, and finish a little bit better. We saw that on Saturday, but nonetheless, this is a team that is contending for the MIAA title right now.
Definitely.
And having a very good season so far, especially in MIAA play after a rough start to the overall season.
Mm-hmm.
So we're about ready to start here. And we're underway. Hope will start out with possession here.
And the Dutchmen always do a good job of starting off with a ton of energy, so it'll be exciting to see how that momentum carries forward in the first minutes here.
Have a whistle there, and Hope will keep possession. James Raymond will take it back behind the center line.
And as you can see, the defender Steve Benning is getting out forward early on, which will be very instrumental, just getting these defenders with their height into that box and seeing what they can do with the ball.
Raymond with a cross short of the box. Will be a throw in for Hope here off of Adrian kicking it out of bounds. Just trying to clear it out of there and stay out of trouble.
And a player that has been very, very strong for the Dutchman is Veld on the outside. He has so much speed, so being able to get him up into the attack and get him running in behind and maybe even bypassing the midfielders on occasion will be super important as they go into this game.
Here's Raymond over to Ben Hagman, who kicks it back out to Steve Binning.
And these quick little passes are so important to them keeping possession and keeping the ball in Adrian's half.
Adrian doing everything they can to keep it out of their defending half of the field, but Hope's doing a great job of possessing it here.
And one thing that's interesting is seeing the Dutchmen have such a powerful and energetic start, because it can be hit or miss in terms of those first 5 minutes, but they have a definite impact on the flow of the game.
Raymond with a mistake there, accidentally goes off his foot out of bounds, so Adrian will have it here.
And early on, you can see the differences in strategy between the two teams. Whereas one team has the ball on the ground, a little bit more balls in the air, just to test that back line of Hope's defense.
So this is the goalkeeper, Blair McCormick. They've kind of been platooning their goalkeepers so far this season. Between Wilbur and McCormick, but it's worked out really well for the Dutchmen, as both have played at a very, very high level. They're both top 3 in the conference in save percentage, and that is very impressive to have two guys like that on your team that you can rely on.
Mm-hmm. And so rare in a team to have such strong goalkeepers across the board. And I think one of the most important things as we go through this game for the Dutchmen will be their counterattack, just because there's so much speed, especially on the sides, that they can exploit in those spaces.
So here's the goalkeeper for the Bulldogs, Spencer Brown. He also is top 5 in save percentage in the conference. So a battle of some good goalkeepers here tonight. Definitely something to keep an eye on. So the Bulldogs in possession.
And
Kick it back to Brown.
And you just see the amount of pressure that the Dutchmen are applying early. And it's just this constant switch between high and low. So it's interesting to see that up at the top, but then to also see like the defense backed off so far just to keep the ball in front of them. And I think the commitment to possession that we've seen from the Dutchmen has been very, very strong and very important to how they go forward and how they finish out games, and has made a huge difference in their ability to keep wins or keep shutouts in their games.
Absolutely. That has been huge all season for them, is understanding that possession will open up opportunities for this team, and opportunities will ultimately lead to goals, and you can't say that enough, especially for a team like this, and that's their strength.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see Adrian as this game settles in and just see how they're able to counteract all the speed and the constant attack down the sides and in the center of the field.
So that was Dalton Brusso for Hope trying to run that ball down, but ultimately lands in the hands of Spencer Brown, who punts one down the field.
And that's a decent ball in behind by the Dutchman. Just being able to exploit those spaces and the gaps in between the defense and take advantage of those. And another relationship that has been so important for the Dutchmen is the one between Brock and Dalt. There's just such a good communication with the 1-2 and the commitment to finish from Dalt up top.
Christian Dalt, he's going to be looking to score all night long, and very aggressive player, and looks to get his shots in and create opportunities for himself, which is, that seems like almost a selfish thing to say, but it's absolutely not. When you're scoring goals like he can and like he does, it definitely helps out his entire team.
And he's a natural number 9 in that spot. He loves the center, and he loves to rip a shot anytime he gets a chance. So being able to see that and being able to see him do it successfully has been instrumental to the team and instrumental to the morale as they go through the 90 minutes.
So this will be a throw-in for Adrian.
You're running with the guys separated. Move somewhere.
Brandon Kazoil throws it in. Good job by Steve Binning to play it over to Ben Hagman, who clears it out.
And one thing that Adrian's doing really well is taking advantage of that low press in the back line. Just because the Dutchman defense has a lower back line doesn't mean that they can't play in front. It'll be interesting to see how they end up attacking in behind those spaces, just because the Dutchmen are organized in the back, but they definitely have opportunities to go forward.
So McCormick setting up out of his goal.
And as you can see, the Dutchmen are committed to having that ball in the other half, rather than trying to build up possession from the back line to the other side. They're immediately trying to get it on the opposing team's half. And it seems early on that the speed of play is there, but there's just like a lag in terms of connection of passes from both sides. So being able to calm down and have that composure on the ball and commitment to keep it is super important as the game continues.
Yeah, neither team with really too many opportunities so far and chances at scoring. But Hope has definitely had the advantage possession-wise as they have it here, ready to throw it in. 36 minutes to go in the first half.
And that's good speed and control. And one thing that you'll see from the Dutchmen is just that constant knowing of where they want to place the ball. You didn't see a runner getting into that space, but oftentimes pulling that ball back towards the PK spot for someone to run onto and finish is a huge thing. And if they're able to connect and do it right and do it adequately, it'll be huge as they go forward, especially with their speed on the side.
So a bad turnover there by Adrian, which is very dangerous in your own half of the field. And on your defensive half, as they end up getting it back.
And it just seems right now that Adrian's just like off to a very slow start. Not making great passes, not great control on the ball or good technique in their kicks. So being able to turn it around will be so important. And they just need a pick-me-up and just like an increase in their energy and intensity right now as they go forward.
How much do you attribute that to Hope's play?
I think Hope coming right off the bat and attacking them directly is instrumental, because when you have the ball in your half and you're constantly being turned around to run, you're getting tired. So it makes it a lot harder to pick up from the goal line and bring it all the way back to the front.
So that ball is going to go back as a goal kick for the Bulldogs.
And early on, the ref is establishing aggressive play is allowed, which is refreshing to see in any soccer game.
Yep, they're letting us play. Brown boots it down there.
And that's good defense by Veld just to close that gap and stay in the spaces.
So here comes Dalton Brousseau. Tries to make a play, ends up on the ground. We do have a whistle. He'll stay with the Flying Dutchman of Hope.
And here's a good spot for Raymond to take advantage of that left foot. Oftentimes left-footed players have a natural in-swing, and if he's able to get that curve on the ball just right, it can land in behind that defense where they have trouble heading that ball, and just in the perfect spot for a chance on goal.
And that was a great one there. A great job by Spencer Brown to fly in there and take that one out of the air with his hands. But James Raymond with a pretty good kick off that set piece, and Raymond has had so much responsibility this season, taking a lot of those, and saw it last game. He had the penalty kick for a goal. He did have an assist as well in that game, so he's playing at a very high level and definitely somebody that this Hope team relies on a lot.
Definitely. And it's always so good to see a player who takes a PK and isn't afraid to just slam it in the roof of the goal rather than just like typical placement. Shows a lot of confidence and maturity in his own ability.
That one's skied down the field by Sean Kane. Hope is going to come away with it.
And the wind will definitely have an effect on this game, especially as Adrian chooses to attack. It seems like they're trying to send a lot of balls forward, but the wind is not in their favor at the moment. So being able to have a plan B or just keep the ball on the ground until they have that wind behind their backs in the second half is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen that with the goal kicks from both goalies. McCormick's able to get it a lot farther downfield than Brown has, and a lot of that could be attributed to the conditions here.
It's always funny to just see teams, especially when they have their center backs spread out so wide to receive that ball. But in this situation, when you have that advantage of the wind, go ahead and take it.
So McCormick able to get it over to Ben Hagman, midfielder. That one, a mistake there by David White, kicking it out of bounds. Just lost his handle on it. That one kicked by Bonkowski off of Hagman, and will stay with the Bulldogs here. This is Kazoil throwing it in. Bonkowski kicks it all the way over into the box. McCormick comes out of the goal, and a great job. I believe that was Veld being able to take that away and clear it out to the other side of the field.
And that's always the tricky thing with these balls in behind. It may be a kick that may not be so controlled, but if you don't have the tightness in your 18, you're definitely going to pay for it. Dutchmen were lucky on that one.
That one kicked in the box and taken away out of the air for Blair McCormick. A good job by him there. Yeah, he came out a little bit too far on that one previously, and great job by the Hope defense for recovering and picking him up after that.
And sometimes it just seems like a little disconnect in communication between that center back and the outside back. So being able to scramble to get back into positioning just shows like the effort and intensity and the willingness to keep a clean sheet for the Dutchmen.
That one goes for a goal. That is a shot on goal and a save for Blair McCormick.
And part of the problem with this Adrian offense is they're not getting in deep enough for most of their attack. Other than the one ball that we saw in behind, there's been very few opportunities for them to attack.
So that's Bonkowski giving a lot of effort and trying to work it in there, and defended by Steve Binning. And that ball will be turned back over to Hope.
And good commitment from the Dutchmen just to stay tight to their men and never give up on the play.
McCormick's guys went down. It's going to be taken away there by Zach Combs for Adrian.
And look at all this space in the midfield. It's interesting just to see how wide open the play is right now, just because the numbers aren't there for Adrian. There's plenty of space to be played, especially when legs get tired, but if you don't have the numbers up there, there's no way to attack and there's no way to get in depth and get on the other side of the field.
So just under 28 minutes to play in the first half, still tied up at 0.
And right now it's anyone's game. The Dutchmen have kept good possession early on, but as the game wears on and legs get more tired, there's a lot of scrambling going on. We can see both teams kind of trying to figure out how they want to proceed, how they want to attack, but the key will be getting into that 18.
So White tried to go towards the goal, get it at least in the box. That's deflected off of a defender. Raymond able to get it back inside for Dalt, who, and that play's broken up. We do have a whistle and something on Dalt there.
And again, his aggression is something that is so huge for the Dutchmen. Just never giving up on plays, constantly looking for that ball to smash into the net, and constantly giving his team all the effort he can when he's in.
Yeah, you can't blame him for a play like that.
And just so clever on those balls in behind and tricking the defense into exploiting those spaces. Another interesting thing for the Dutchmen is how they attack. You see a lot of plays in behind on the right side, but not so much on the left side. But it's plausible that if they were to get it on both sides or get that or attack on both sides, how much more effective they would be and how much more tired the other defense would be. So being able to see that as they go forward will be interesting.
Russo had it, kicked back to Binnig. Isaac Brock plays it back to Binning, who gives it to McCormick. These guys won out of bounds right there at the Hope College bench. Quick throw in there by Kazoil for Adrian.
And you see the Dutchmen able to scramble and able to take a little bit more time on the ball because they have the wind as their advantage. So it'll be interesting to see in the second half when they don't have that advantage how they adjust and how they maintain possession without making dangerous plays in the back.
So here's James Raymond to throw it in.
That's a good hard tackle from both Adrian and Dutchman.
A little bit of a sloppy stretch there, but Adrian will throw it back in. Raymond does come away with it for Hope. Brusso with it now.
And the more touches he gets on the ball, it's interesting to see him able to keep that and have all that space and time to do that.
Dipple skied one in, but
as long as those balls are flat, they won't get in behind. But if you're able to put the slightest spin and make that defense really have to work, makes a difference.
so attempted shot there by Brusso. Looked like he was going for the net. Off a defender there, deflected.
And that's a good idea, just to make sure the defense is on their toes and paying attention. And that's good defense by the Adrian men. Commitment to stay on that ball and good speed and using good strength as well.
So this will be a throw-in. Likely trying to get it somewhere in the box, but we'll go short with it. And ends up into the hands of Spencer Brown, the goalkeeper for the Adrian Bulldogs, as his teammates will set up downfield, and he'll look to boot one down there, but the wind is affecting his kicks. That was a good one there.
And as we can see, there's still no real offensive plan from Adrian. They're able to keep the ball in front of the Dutchmen, but there's been a lack of space in behind, so they need to find a way to exploit that space.
That was Kazoil. Here comes Hope going the other way. This is Dalt.
And as you can see, both teams are starting to get their outside backs more involved in the attack. And that interchange between midfielder and outside back is so detrimental just because it's a player running full force while the defense is on their heels and trying to turn around to make up that ground.
So after that whistle will be turned over back to Adrian here as we are approaching 22 minutes to go in this first half. Still 0-0. Adrian with that one shot on goal so far, and they do have possession right here.
And this is a good spot for Adrian to capitalize on, especially from that right-footed kick and just seeing where it goes. And completely open in the box. And one thing the Dutchmen could do a better job of is staying tight in detrimental locations in their back. the 18 is not where you want to have space on your players. When you're outside of that box, it's a little bit different. You can afford to do more zonal defense, but staying tight is so important in that final third.
That'll be a throw in here for Hope upcoming. Dalt working for it, trying to run it down. Ends up falling down. He looks shaken up there. Hopefully he's okay. He's still down on the ground.
And that's the risk with such aggressive play.
He comes up limping, and we'll see what happened there. We do have some substitutions set to come in here for Hope.
And right now, both teams have ample opportunity to get forward and getting behind, but maybe it's just even a formation change and getting more numbers forward and into the box.
So here comes substitution. This is Jared Wondergem, number 7 for Hope College, coming in, the junior from Hudsonville, Michigan. He did score a goal in the last game, so we'll see what he can bring here. A couple more substitutions for Hope. That's Jordan Hooker, also a junior. He's from Grand Rapids. And number 13, Devin Butler, the junior from New Baltimore. Ben Hagman and Christian Dalt will check out for the moment, as we're under 20 minutes here to play in the first half. Still 0-0.
And a definitive header from Binnick. It's good to see confidence in that back line, specifically with your center backs.
Another one off the head of Binnick.
And you see Brock in the midfield constantly on his man. Doesn't necessarily have the strength, but the tenacity just to stay with that ball.
This one will stay with Adrian Kazoil to throw it in. And there was a shot at goal there.
And one of Adrian's best opportunities. Blair McCormick so strong in covering each side of the post. But again, that space at the top of the box or anywhere near that 18 is going to be detrimental to Hope's defense. We can see an in-swinger as Adrian prepares to take this corner kick, which is so lethal in the box.
So that one broken up well by the Hope defense, and they went for that front post. McCormick plays it short over to Steve Binning.
And a good ball in behind by Binning, helped along by the Adrian defense.
Hooker tried to run that down. This is White, and there's a whistle. It'll be back over to Adrian here, coming the other way.
And all these little breaks in the play are so helpful to a defense on both sides, just to give them a little breather and time to reset as a team.
So that one just out of bounds, and Raymond will throw it back in here. Tried to find White, and this one will go back out of bounds off Adrian And back in the hands of Raymond to throw it in once again.
And the early momentum that the Dutchman had at the beginning of this game is kind of wearing down as we settle into the game.
Dipple with a decent ball there. That's Hooker running it down.
And he's definitely got the speed to do some interesting things in behind. And again, you see Brock getting into that attack, and his interchange between defense and offense is so strong.
Good cross there. They're not able to connect there. Wonder Gem not able to get to it, but Hope still with the ball. Here's Brock weaving his way towards the box, goes for goal and misses wide left, but a good opportunity for him, an aggressive move on that shot. It just went wide left of the goal. Do have a substitution for Adrian. Coming in is Brandon Gatona. He's a junior from Dearborn, Michigan, a midfielder, so he'll be checking into the game.
And with that last play, it's so good to see Brock back and healthy as opposed to last season. And then just thinking about how difficult it is to knock him off the ball. When you are a shorter player, you definitely have that lower center of gravity, and he has such good ball skills, so being able to see him getting behind so easily is important.
Raymond able to take that one away. Here's Devin Butler, the junior. This one is into White. Plays it over to Wonder Gem. Wonder Gem chips one in there and just too far, couldn't quite connect over on that far on this left side here to Butler, and will be a goal kick for Adrian, but a good idea by Hope College there.
And
starting to see them be a little more aggressive here and get some good opportunities to go for the goal.
Exactly. And as the Dutchmen continue to switch the ball more frequently, it keeps Adrian's defense on their toes. You can see their men like holding on to their knees and trying to catch their breath, but the more they're able to increase their speed of play, the more detrimental they are.
That one could have been dangerous there. Adrian able to recover.
An aggressive play by Raymond just to keep that ball, or to attempt to keep that ball.
Combs came away with it. That was Miller there.
And the Dutchmen are again putting some heavy pressure on this Adrian offense, defense, midfield, everywhere on the field.
Yeah, they're certainly not letting them get comfortable at all, as you mentioned.
And again, it's so much easier when you have that wind behind your back and that extra security, because even any of their clearances aren't going to go as far as they're wanting it to when they're looking for a breather.
That's a great win there for the Dutchmen as they get it back. There comes White. That one poked away by Miller for Adrian.
And there are a lot of heavy touches in this game, back and forth from both sides.
And that was Garrett Miller that got that one away. Then the ball was touched by Jordan Miller. Not to confuse the two.
Well, that's a decent ball in behind.
Brock able to sky it over there, but a good effort from that back line of Adrian to fend that one off. And Spencer Brown will have it once again. A good kick.
Those balls in behind are so difficult to judge for a goalkeeper, especially when they're right in between the box and outside of it. So being able to have that defense that has a commitment to get it to that goalkeeper is so important.
It's a big collision there. And on the ground, they're going to wave some medical personnel to come in. And that's a dangerous one there.
And that head-to-head contact is so difficult,
Yeah.
especially when you don't even see it coming.
Yeah, and he didn't see it coming. Can't quite tell who that is
Yeah.
on the ground.
Looks like it may be Jordan Hooker, number 5.
So the clock is stopped here with 12:05 remaining in the first half. As they're going to tend to him. Both teams coming over to their benches here and getting a little bit of a breather. As you mentioned, seem to be some people, especially on the Adrian side, getting a little bit tired, especially with Hope ramping it up on the offensive side and being a lot more aggressive as we in that last 5 to 10 minute stretch.
And this just gives the team time to regroup and really look at what they're doing and how they want to proceed forward.
So he's going to get up and walk in, and it's great to see.
And it looks like it is Jordan Hooker, so the
Yep.
fact that he's up and moving is a good sign already.
So some substitutions for Hope coming in now. This is Logan Bilesma, a sophomore from Hudsonville, Michigan, who will come in to this match for the first time here. 12:05 remaining in the first. And some other substitutions ready to check in as well. We'll see if they come in right now.
In the game for the Bulldogs, number 24, Noah Gonzalez. In the game for the Dutchman, number 2, Logan Bilesma.
And it's nice to see the Dutchmen able to rely on some of their sophomores to step up in situations like these when need be.
So Wonder Gem, some gamesmanship there, and passes it back, gives it to Adrian. Good to see. That went off the head of Steve Binning.
And he's so good in the air, just so confident and willing to step into those balls immediately.
This is a key stretch for both teams here. Is about 11 and a half minutes to go in the first half. If somebody can punch one into the net, it would be huge going into halftime with the momentum of playing a pretty even game so far. But if one team could get on the board, it would be really, really big for their confidence going into the second half, and not to mention just being ahead, not even just confidence-wise. Here's McCormick, who did a good job there, keeping that one out of the goal.
And that's a good turn on it by Adrian.
Yep, that was Gonzalez. And we do have a whistle to go back to Hope here with 10 and a half to play. McCormick's going to take to this one himself. Comes out of the box and sets up his teammates as they go downfield.
And that's a decent ball in.
Have some substitutions here. Into the game for Adrian will be Chris Stanhope, the junior from Dearborn. For Hope College, Sam Mason, number 8, comes in. Connor Fowler, number 12, comes in as well. and Colin Bennett, number 20, will check in. So 3 substitutions for Hope, 1 for Adrian here.
And it's interesting to see the frequency of substitutions for Hope as opposed to Adrian, who seems to have more tired men.
Yeah, and Hope like trying to get their guys involved. A lot of people involved here.
And it saves legs going into the second half. And a questionable call by the referee on the field.
Very questionable, as Adrian will have it. This one will be taken just behind center field. Sean Kane flew it in there. Hope comes away with it.
And they have a good opportunity to counter off with a kick right here. Oh, and a prime opportunity to finish.
Very dangerous there.
But
Almost.
again, you see the Dutchmen so quick on that counter. They have so much speed on the top of that they can rely on. Being able to have the heart and the aggression just to mow through those players is so good for your offense and building morale.
Very dangerous. Adrian almost there turning it over in the box, and it would not have been good for their sake. 8 minutes to go here in the first.
And that's what fatigue will do to you, just like silly little errors in your box or in any part of the field that can have a huge impact on the flow of the game.
Kazoil crosses one in. McCormick comes all the way out, able to grab it.
And
Good job
McCormick
by
is
him as well.
Yeah, he's so good about judging those balls and where he needs to come off his line and where he needs to stay. Very few error in his skills and being aggressive off the line and definitive in what he's going to do.
He's done that quite a few times already here in this first half.
And it takes away the main driving force of Adrian's attack.
Bulldogs number 5, Dayton Rush.
Another substitution for Adrian coming in. That's Dayton Rush from Grand Blanc. He's a sophomore forward. He'll come in here as we're nearing the end of the half.
Bulldogs number 19, Mike Osorio.
And that's good strength by Mason to get that ball back for the Dutchman. And that's a good step by the Dutchman. Just a lot of silly little turnovers here and there, but good individual defense by both sides.
And Dipper will just clear that one out of bounds to the Hope bench. Kazol to throw it in. That one headed away by Brock. Be another throw in.
Adrian seems to be attacking primarily out of this right side, so that's one thing for the Dutchmen to watch as they finish out this half and go into the second half. Their ability to close that down and take away that added pressure.
McCormick will quickly get it into Binnig, who kicks it down. That's a good job there by Bennett to deflect it, and once again, it does the same thing. That'll be a goal kick for Adrian, though. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Spencer Brown will kick it out of his own goal.
And again, still anybody's game. Just so much back and forth, especially in these last 15 minutes. So being composed on that ball and being able to keep it for more than just one moment in a game is going to be very important, especially when we go into the second half. And there have been a few really aggressive tackles with studs up for sure. So being mindful of that and seeing that tactic as well, just to slow the speed of play down and just take away that momentum on both sides is really interesting.
So under 4 minutes now. Dipple will play this one in. Fowler has it. Tried to find Bennett, but just too far, and that'll go back out of bounds. Will be another goal kick here for Spencer Brown and the Bulldogs. And he'll set his teammates up as they go downfield. Try to get an opportunity for them here with 3.5 remaining in the first half. Still 0-0. Neither team able to put anything in. It's been a couple opportunities, but back and forth possession-wise as we see it once again. Bennett looked like he had it. Lost it. That'll be off Adrian. It'll be a throw in here for Hope College. Fowler throws it in.
And although the Dutchmen have not been able to connect in that final third, just their ability to keep the ball on the other side of the field for the most part has been incredibly helpful in terms of giving their defense time to rest and time on the ball to decide what they want to do with it. And one person who's been very quiet this half is Veld. Hasn't had the same opportunities to go down the field on the right side, but it'll be interesting to see a turnaround, or if there's a turnaround in the second half.
That one chipped into the box and punched back out. A good job by that Adrian defense. Gonzalez has it right now. A good job breaking that up by Fowler for Hope. Whistle there.
And that's a good, strong clearance from Binnig just to get that ball out and possibly use it as a form of attack for the Dutchmen.
So a minute and 20 seconds left in this first half. Neither team on the board.
One minute remaining in the first half.
And just a little too much on that ball, but a good idea to get in behind. One thing that neither team is doing is really switching the ball consistently and switching it quickly enough. But it makes such a difference when you're constantly going from one side to the other and looking for that gap in behind with those switches and distracting the defense in that sense.
Just over 30 seconds left here, as you can see. Whistle that'll go back to Adrian. Hope was trying to work in that box there. Not able to do so, and the clock is ticking here with 20 seconds. Brown just taking his time here, 10 seconds.
10, 9, 8,
He
Both
boots
teams.
one.
6, 5, 4,
And it'll just go out of bounds in that.
2, 1.
Hope tries to get it in quick, but clock will run out here. That is the end of the first half. So stick with us after a short break, and we will be back with second half action here. But 0-0 between Hope and Adrian at halftime. All right, welcome back here to Van Andel Soccer Stadium. Clayton Safey alongside Claire De Silva. And we're looking forward to some second half action here in this match between Hope College and Adrian. Not much action there in that first half, Claire, but what have you seen so far from both teams and kind of the trends in which this game is heading?
I think that the Dutchmen have done a great job starting with a lot of high intensity, but being able to maintain that for an entire half has been a struggle that they've seen over the entire season. And in moments, they're very strong, but something that they could definitely improve upon. On Adrian's side, we saw a little bit of struggle with getting any sort of attack forward. They were strongest when they're going down their right side in terms of the attack. But being able to see how they proceed, especially with the wind behind them, will be very interesting for the second half and how the Dutchmen adjust to that. Another interesting thing was the lack of presence of Jack Veld down the right side for the Dutchmen, who's usually so good on that outside wing. But another thing to keep into consideration is the left back on Adrian's side. It's really hard to see the numbers, but that left back has been shutting things down. His ability just to get in behind and close gaps and make smart plays has been instrumental and has definitely had an effect on Veld's ability to go forward in the Dutchman's right side of the attack. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes into the second half, and it'll be interesting to see how the Dutchmen adjust and attack on the left side more often.
Great stuff, and we're definitely looking forward here to the second half. And like you mentioned, Claire, I mean, they're not making it easy on us, either team with the jersey colors and the numbers of there is Hope's got the whites on with the silver numbers, and Adrian wearing their black and yellow striped ones there with no number on the front. And I can tell you, I apologize to anyone out there if we're not, we can't see who is doing something out there, but nonetheless, here we're ready to go for the second half. Fresh 45 minutes on the clock. Like we said, 0-0. And one team's going to look to break through here and get themselves on the board and ultimately put themselves ahead in this match. And we just haven't seen that so far. But be looking for Hope College, guys like Christian Dalt, James Raymond, guys like that can set up some scoring opportunities for themselves. And Dalt has been aggressive, especially when he was in earlier in the game. So it'll be interesting to see what he can get going in this second half.
And also that interchange again between Dalton and Brock, and Brock's ability to go forward on his own in certain situations will be instrumental in the second half.
Yeah, he has that dribbling ability that's very impressive. As we start this second half back underway, Adrian with it. They come out firing, trying to get it down the field early on, but it's going to end up with McCormick here. And Hope was able to shut that down pretty quickly. But Adrian came out with some quick energy there and aggressiveness to get it down the field.
And again, we see how that wind is affecting the Dutchmen early on. But Blair McCormick's still able to get a good, strong kick out. And that's good defensive play from Jack Veld on the right.
That one will stay with Adrian, kicked out by Ryan Woodside for Hope. This one will be played in on the throw-in by Zach Roller.
And again, you can see all these naturally left-footed players playing on the left side, which has a huge effect on the game and the way that they're able to attack. Not very common, but good to see from both sides. And that's a good, quick counter from Hope. That last touch was just a little rough, but being able to go with speed is one of their best attributes as a team.
So Katona tried to play it in. Let's see if they can keep him going out of bounds. And
that's a smart slide from Holden just to make sure that ball doesn't go in behind. But again, another opportunity for Adrian to make something out of this out of this spot from the corner.
So corner kick. I like to try to cross one in here and try to create an opportunity for a goal. We haven't seen any of that so far as they set it up here.
taking their time to set it up just for the perfect opportunity for their men.
That one just a little bit far, trying to go back post. Ends up out of bounds to be a goal kick for McCormick and Hope College. So an opportunity missed there for Adrian on getting something that's at least in play for one of the Bulldogs to get a shot off. But
And this goal kick will be interesting just because the Dutchmen, again, don't have that wind behind their back. So being able to adjust to that and maybe get into open spaces, maybe that means pulling it outside back further and in behind just so McCormick has someone to play to.
and you can tell they understand that as they set up a little bit closer to McCormick than they were last half when he had the wind at his back.
Good strategy early on in the half.
Dipple tried to punch it away.
That's a lot of space in the back line. Just being able to step to that ball.
And Tad Davis rips off a shot, and that one is saved. There'll be a corner kick upcoming, but McCormick gets his hands on it, flies out of bounds. A good, aggressive shot and a shot on goal for Tad Davis for Adrian.
And the Dutchmen have been bailed out more than one time by their goalkeeper. So being able to stay tight and maybe win that 50-50 ball shoulder to shoulder rather than staying goal side behind the ball and giving that offensive player space makes a huge difference.
So Davis with that last shot, he comes in to this match with 2 goals on the season for himself.
And another opportunity from the corner for Adrian. It seems that they have no real height advantage as they're going into this corner, but they're still able to make the most of some of their opportunities.
So it's a low one in there and off the head of a Bulldog, and that's going to end up in the back of the net for an Adrian Bulldogs goal. And we'll see who that was.
Number 9, it looks like, Sean Kane.
So that'll be Sean Kane on the goal for Adrian and puts them ahead.
Scored by number 9, Sean Kane.
1-0 here with 40 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in this match. And that puts Adrian ahead, and we talked about it. One team can get themselves ahead and get this lead after it's been tied up the entire match up to this point, and Adrian is that team as we see them with the lead, and that's big going forward.
Definitely for momentum and their ability just to stay tight as a defense and their commitment to keeping a clean sheet. For Hope, you can see the downsides of a zonal defense, especially in your box. So being able to stay tight to their men and keeping track of all the numbers in their box is so important going forward.
So Hope trying to answer back and get an equalizer goal here.
And the beauty of a goal so early on is it still leaves everything up in the air. It's still anybody's game at this point.
Get a whistle, a couple guys end up down on the turf, and this will be turned over to the Bulldogs of Adrian. Here under 40 minutes remaining.
And as the game goes on, you'll see more intensity and more willingness for both sides to draw out a foul from the other player. And that's a good strong header from Brock.
So Binning looking to take this one. Takes it all the way down just short of the box.
And that's a decent kick, just not enough numbers up front to keep it. And the Dutchmen have been solid on the outside line in terms of not letting those forwards run in behind and get behind them, just putting their body in the way.
This will be a throw in here for Roller. This will go back here to Hope. McCormick will take it.
And you can already see the shift in momentum, just the slowing down of pace from the Dutchman and the greater ability of Adrian just to get forward. That's a good tackle from Brusso on the Dutchman side. And here's an opportunity for them to get forward if they use speed.
Raymond played one across the field. This will be a throw in for Hope. This will be Veld.
And again, you see him trying to target Dalt again, who's just so energetic on the field. Being able to get him involved as much as possible will be so important to the Dutchmen as they proceed forward. Here we see a switch as Raymond goes to take the throw. It'll be interesting to see what they have planned and how they want to get it into the box. That's good defense by Adrian.
Yeah, they're definitely not making it easy for Hope here as we'll get another throw in, and this will be James Raymond. Like you said, the switch from Veld over on that right side. Raymond throws it in, trying to get it deep in the box. Comes back out to him. He heads it, and it's going to land and be corralled by Spencer Brown, who quickly plays it in.
One thing that the Dutch might be trying to do is not only have that throw on both sides, but also that in-swinger coming from right to left, just because that ball in behind is so much more lethal when it's in-swinging towards the goal from the left side, or from the right side coming from a left-footed player.
Brousseau brought it all the way in, turned over.
That's good quick play from Brock, just to get the ball moving and in play. Wow.
They're going to call that a goal there for Hope College as they tie this thing up 1-1.
And really great vision from Woodside on that ball to immediately get it in behind to Dalt, who's always ready to attack.
So the goal there from Christian Dalton, you just talked about it, Claire, that they need to get him involved more and how important that is to get a guy that has that kind of scoring ability to be involved, and you see it right there.
And those quick 1-2s are so important to the Dutchmen. Whenever they're able to get that ball in play and get it moving on the counter so quickly, that's when they're most effective.
So now we're seeing some action here in the second half. It's under 35 minutes. Excuse me, just over 35 minutes remaining in the half, but a lot more action than that first half. 2 goals in the early going, 1 for each team. As we sit here once again tied up 1-1.
14, David White.
So they are going to call that an own goal for the goalkeeper Brown, but a great job by Hope sticking with it and being able to put it in.
And a complete shift in momentum just by that one goal and that one shift in action. And with so much time left in the second half, it'll be interesting to see how each team continues, especially as legs get more tired.
And this will set up a corner kick here for Adrian as that goes off the head and behind the goal off of Dipple.
And we're seeing a lot of spaces and gaps in defense as we get deeper into the half, which is not necessarily what you want to see, but definitely allows for more opportunities for Adrian's offense. And that's a great in-swinger.
That's going to be all the way from the corner. They are going to, I believe, call it
by the corner kicker, possibly. Oh, are they going to call that a... And I think they're going to
so
call
there's
that
no goal. I mean, it is up on the scoreboard here as a goal, but they just took it off. So the ref breaking that one up and calling that.
But again,
no
you
goal.
see the strength of number 11 with that in-swinger and just how instrumental that is as they go forward. That's good defense by Dipple just to get that ball out of the danger zone. There have been a lot of little slips here and there on the field. And in that situation, I think the Dutch had the right move by calling that, or by committing that foul, just to slow down the speed of play.
So Adrian will have it here on a set piece. Under 33 minutes for us here remaining in the second half. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here.
Now that they have the win behind them, all of the attack that they're trying to do in the first half has so much more impact.
Plays that one on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Now in the air, comes all the way out, and that's going to be a goal for Adrian. So they do get that second goal in.
And absolutely, or almost nothing that the Dutchman can do in that position. That's just a great shot by number 11 just to get that finish.
And that one's scored by Zachary Roller. Excuse me. So he got that one called off, but ends up punching it in there and getting his goal for him there. So Adrian goes up in a lot of action we've seen so far in this second half. They're going to take the lead 2-1 now. And a very exciting match as we go forward here. Both teams right in the thick of the MIAA race. His Hope's in second place and Adrian in third. So very competitive match that we've seen so far. This is Christian Dalt. Here's Wonder Gem.
But it's still really great to see a commitment to go forward. The Dutchmen don't seem to be fazed by this goal and the uncertainty early on in the second half.
Yeah, they're right back at it, continuing their aggressive play as it does get turned over on a penalty there.
Just a little bit off the mark with that kick to give the Dutchman possession again.
Quickly in, Dipple finds Woodside.
And a good idea on the flick on from Woodside. Just unable to connect.
It's all the way back to McCormick.
And one thing that's important is just to see the Dutchmen have to bring the ball all the way out from their goal line to the other half. That's a good strategy on Adrian's part, just to make sure that any opportunity that the Dutchmen have, they're working for it, and they can't just rely on the counterattack in that situation.
So Raymond will take this one for Hope as we had the whistle there. Try to play this one in the box. He does.
Oh, and that's a rough play on the corner there.
Very physical play. They're going to keep it here with Hope on a throw-in.
And that's good strength from the Dutchman to stay composed in that situation. Again, we'll see Raymond, and his in-swinger has been detrimental. And one of the reasons why it's so difficult for Adrian to refrain from fouling in that situation.
So Raymond will take it. Gets it in there, front post. That'll be off Hope, and it's going to go the other way. Goal kick upcoming here for Spencer Brown. Adrian leading 2-1 here. We do have a substitution for the Adrian Bulldogs. It's going to be Jordan Miller coming in, the freshman from Toledo, Ohio, St. John's Jesuit High School.
Adrian's still having a little bit of trouble on that initial goal kick just to get that ball in behind. But a lot of commitment to keeping that ball.
This will be thrown in by Hope. Brock plays it. Woodside, a good job. He's got it.
That's good control by Woodside.
And Dalt on the run. He gets knocked over once again.
And a good ball in behind by Woodside. And again, you'll see a lot of aggressive plays, and those are just going to keep coming. So it'll be interesting to see what the ref decides in terms of what's considered studs up and what's not.
So this is going to be thrown in by James Raymond, number 3. Throws it in deep into the box.
And the Dutchmen seem to be attacking again down from that right side, although they do have a lot of strength on the left side from Adrian.
Whistle there. It'll stick with Hope.
And Binning's a little
Good
bit
job by
lucky in
Binning.
that situation. Just being able to get rid of that ball quickly is so important. It's a little bit different when you're the center back versus the forward because the speed of play is going to decrease significantly, but being able to make those smart decisions when you're the last line of defense is equally as important.
So Raymond, once again, in the box, and Adrian able to chip it out of there.
A little bit of tension in the box, and tensions will rise as players get frustrated, especially when we get into this last quarter of the game.
Yeah, things are starting to heat up here. And a lot of action in this second half with Adrian taking that 2-1 lead. Here we're approaching 27 minutes remaining in the second half. So still lots of time for Hope to be able to tie this one up. Another whistle. That's going to be a yellow card there.
And sometimes that's necessary just to get control of that game, because once you lose it, it's impossible to get it back for a ref.
Lots of arguing, lots of talking out there on the field. Like you said, tension's rising, things are heating up. Both teams know this is a very important match for the future and the standings. A lot on the line here tonight at Van Andel Stadium.
Another substitution for Adrian.
Yeah, that's Chris Stanhope coming in.
It's good just to get in a fresh pair of legs and get those substitutions early and often for both sides.
So Raymond is ready to take that set piece. As the referee's trying to figure things out and communicate that to Hope's coaching staff and Coach Smith.
And again, you can see the heightened sense of anticipation as substitutions are being made, and you can see just how important it is to both coaches.
Jordan Hooker.
And Jordan Hooker will check in once again. And Christian Dalt will take a seat. He's played very hard today. Raymond, once again, that one in the box, but a good job by Adrian clearing it all the way out. Go back to Veld.
That's a very definitive strong header on the outside from Adrian. And you can already see the difference in those clearances, just having so much more weight behind them with that wind.
Jordan Miller played it in to one of his teammates that had a good shot, but that one just high of the net.
And that's smart play for Miller, just to go on that inside rather than on the outside, where Veld's speed will win almost every time.
And Claire, what have you seen in this second half that is different from the first half? The first half, no scoring, wasn't many opportunities. What has changed in the second half for both teams that are both now on the board? Adrian with that 2-1 lead.
I would say the wind is definitely a huge factor, just because Adrian's primary form of attack is long balls in behind. You could see them struggling in the first half when they didn't have that wind, and what a difference it makes when they do have it. Another thing is there's been no adjustment made by the Dutchmen to attack down the left side instead of the right side. Yes, they have more speed on the right side, but what a difference it would make if they tried to go on the weaker side of Adrian's defense on the right side. They haven't really tested that outside defender, but as you can see, number 11 for Adrian is probably one of their strongest players, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, that Zachary roller, and we've definitely seen that. He's shown his skill off here tonight.
And even just making a switch just to test the speed of the other side of the defense, just to see what they can bring to the table, and then another in-swinger if you switch a right-footed player to the left side.
So Veld with it for Hope. Trying to play it up the field. Gets broken up. A good tackle there by Jordan Miller.
And at times you see some uncertainty from both teams as they hold on to the ball and take more and more touches. So being able to see the play before it happens will be very important as we close out the rest of this game.
This one crossed in deep off the head. That'll go out. It'll be a goal kick here. We're going to have another substitution into the game for Hope. David White, number 14, will check in. And coming off will be Ben Hagman, the junior here, as we have 23.5 minutes remaining in this second half. This will be out of Hope's goal. McCormick skies it short of center field.
And that's good communication between defense and goalkeeper, just to keep that ball out of trouble for Adrian's side.
Brock to Woodside, back to Brock, who weaves his way in, and just not quite the pass that he wanted there.
But it's so interesting to see. Yeah, it's interesting to see how much space and time he's given, which doesn't make much sense given how detrimental he is on that ball.
Yeah.
So if he's able to connect, that could change the game so much for the Dutchman.
Be a throw in here for Hope. Be taken by Veld. Veld plays it into Hooker. Hooker leaves it for Woodside.
And a little bit more speed of play in this situation. Not able to connect on that final pass, but being able to see those plays again and see them quickly is so important.
Substitutions in for Adrian. Wesley Gensler, number 18, will come in, and also Noah Gonzalez, number 24, the sophomore, will re-enter. A sophomore from Kalamazoo Central High School, just south. So Veld to throw it in once again. He'll do so, get it in all the way to the box.
And that's a good throw to Hooker, who's ready to post up.
Veld looking to cross one in. Little far, that's Wonder Gem off his head.
And he'll do the best he can to keep that play alive.
Looks like
And Adrian has a real opportunity for counter on the back here. That's good speed.
this is Gonzalez. He flies in there. That'll be a goal kick. You're going to have another substitution for Adrian. They're starting to filter some people in and out here. This is Dayton Rush, number 5. The sophomore from Grand Blanc will come back in. As we're just under 20 and a half minutes left in the second half. McCormick will take it out of his own goal.
And as you can see, the Dutchmen have been having a lot more trouble getting the ball in behind the defense of Adrian.
The penalty there. We'll go against Adrian. Surprising. Looking at that Adrian bench, they can't believe it.
And some of the decisions of this referee definitely leave a lot of questions up in the air for both sides.
It's been quite a chippy game, especially down the stretch here in this second half.
And that's a good direction in the back, setting up this kick.
Cross in deep. Batted away. Binnig will have it.
And that's a good play from Binnig. How rare is it to see that center back getting up like that?
Shot fired off, but saved by Spencer Brown. That was Wonder Gem on the shot and had a good look just straight up.
And again, you see that instant connection between whoever's on the outside trying to get that ball and pull it right back to that sweet spot by the PK spot. And both sides are getting pretty cheeky again.
To be thrown in by Roller, who we've seen a lot of. Been very active, especially in the second half.
And that's good strength from Dipple.
It's another physical play, but he was able to shield him off.
Those shoulder-to-shoulder challenges and that strength once you get in front of that ball is so important as a center back, being able to practice it and being able to do it successfully.
So McCormick again, 18 minutes to go, second half.
That's good speed from both sides.
You can see the frustration starting to mount for Hope as they're not able to get comfortable and attack like they like to do it. The possession hasn't gone their way, especially in the second half, and it's been advantage Adrian in that category.
And both teams, you'll see it, have struggled with dealing with that win factor and how to adjust to that. It shows where the teams that are really strong in possession really know how to do what they need to do to keep that possession, whether that's quick 1-2 plays, balls in behind on the ground, or spreading the defense a little bit wider of the opposing defense.
So Hope trying to get something going. McCormick again. Adrian's done a great job of keeping it on their offensive end and then attacking third.
And they just seem to have a lot more energy, especially because they're able to conserve the legs of their defense, who hasn't really been tested. There haven't been many balls in behind. They haven't been forced to turn on their heels and start sprinting in their defensive third.
That's been big, as we have McCormick punting it down the field. Off the head of Hooker.
It's a good 50-50 challenge.
There's White back to Hooker.
That's a good idea.
Tried to weave his way. We do have a whistle, and that would go against Hope.
And they seem to be attacking a little bit more down that left side.
Lots of guys falling to the turf. It's going to go against Hope and stick with the Bulldogs here, as they'll have possession. And we've seen a lot of physical play, a lot of people falling down to the turf, and it's been very competitive out there.
Not to mention Snippy with attitudes. But that almost drives the game forward and allows for more opportunities for both sides. And with each free kick, you see Adrian taking more and more time off the clock.
So McCormick getting his fair share of goal kicks here in the second half, and he's now hoping his teammates can keep it in their possession down the field. We haven't seen much out of that Hope midfield in the second half in doing that.
And another thing we haven't seen is the ability of any of the outside backs or center backs to spread wide and give McCormick another option out of the goal kick, just because they don't have that wind advantage anymore. And that's good strength and composure from Binig, just to be able to keep that ball.
So 13 and a half to go in the second half. Adrian on top 2-1.
And you just again see all the little pokes and stabs at the ball that they're doing, and different ways in which they're trying to slow down the speed of play for the Dutchmen, so they never really have any momentum going forward.
Woodside finds Wonder Gem. Raymond back to Wonder Gem. Goes in towards the middle, plays one on the ground. Almost snuck in that corner of the goal, but not quite. And it's going to be a goal kick coming up for Spencer Brown.
And that's great skill and technique on that ball. And just to be able to place it and use that instep just to make sure it's going exactly where he wants it to go.
An interesting substitution coming in is Christian Dalt, number 15. We talk about how aggressive he is, scoring the ball as a forward. He's coming in for defenseman Steve Binig.
And being able to switch fluidly from a 4-back to a 3-back definitely leaves your defense much more open. But in these last final minutes, Dutchmen are definitely going to be pushing forward to equalize.
And they're going to have to play a lot more aggressive. Christian Dalt's just the guy to do so. See him trying to run it down there. Deflected off of him into the hands of Brown.
And with this 3-back set, it'll be so important for both Veld and Raymond to be staying tucked in on that defensive third to make sure they're man-to-man rather than zonal defense. And also interesting to see how Adrian attacks on the counter.
Here we see a substitution coming in for Hope.
In the game for the Dutchman, number 2.
It's Logan Bilesma. He'll come in for Jordan Hooker, who just kind of took a seat on the turf there, maybe tired or got a little banged up. But either way, he'll come out, and Bilesma will check back in as we're exactly at 12 minutes remaining in this second half. Hope trying to play aggressive here and get something going attacking-wise. Tie this thing up. And so down 2-1 here to Adrian.
And this change in formation from the Dutchman will make it a little bit more difficult on the counter for them to go forward, just because it requires a lot more midfielders to pinch in on that defense. And that's good tenacity from Woodside, just unfortunate in terms of possession.
So Roller will throw it in. Tries to get it in the box, and Dipple kicks it out. This is White.
And great control from White to get that ball down and keep the momentum forward for the Dutchman.
Wonder Gem on the far side.
And right now the Dutchmen just need to be smart in how they keep the ball and how they prevent Adrian from even getting close to them so that they can't foul.
Bilesma kicks it in just short of the box, and that one punched out. Cleared down the field. Gonzalez for Adrian running it down. Putting a lot of pressure on Hope here. As he trips up Dipple.
And those are the types of plays that referees need to do a better job of not just sending a message to players about what they're doing.
Get it in quick here, Woodside. That was going to stay with Hope. A good job by Christian Dalt on a great effort to keep it going this way. Woodside to throw it in, throws it in back to Veld. Tries to cross it. That one out, it'll stay with Hope. Raymond will take it. Adrian doing a good job there, and they're going to get it to go in their favor, and they'll take over possession as they'll throw it in here. So we're just over 9 minutes to go in the match, and Adrian's still on top, trying to fend off Hope and the aggressive play that they've gone to here as of late. Like Claire, you mentioned, switching up formations and understanding that there's not much time left for them.
And both sides have been really great about keeping the energy level up. Oh, and that's a great shot. Great composure from Brusso just to put that ball in the back of the net and get the Dutchman back in this game.
Ties it up. Bilesma to Brusso and puts it in. Beautiful job. Brusso was just waiting for it over on that side and found a great opening. So that'll tie it up here with a Hope College goal.
And almost way too much space from the Adrian defensemen, especially when Dutchmen are pushing more numbers forward. That's more time, or that's more reason to be man-to-man.
So 2-2, and Hope College, that aggressive style that they went to, switching formations, as we see Steve Binning come back in, but they understood that didn't have much time left to score. They had to get back on the board and tied up at 2-2. They found their rhythm, and they did so. making it a tie game once again, and very exciting as we go down the stretch here. 8.5 to play.
And again, the Dutchman can now switch back to the comfort of a 4-man defense, which is much less stressful than playing with the 3 pushing for that equalizer. And that's a good read by Binning, just to clear it out and be in the right positioning at the right time. The Dutchmen, as they go into this last stretch, they're going to have to be careful with number 11, who's so good on the attack and has such a strong left foot.
There he is there. That's Roller. Gets it in, very dangerous in the box. They're able to get it out, though. Veld with it.
That's good control and quickness just to get it out. The Dutchmen are still scrambling.
Good win there from Veld.
Just a little bit too much time from the Dutchmen in their final third. Ooh. And the ref is having trouble taking control of this game. He may be calling fouls, but there's very little effort to send a message to either players or either side. And this location poses a huge threat to the Dutchmen. Adrian has been very good about capitalizing on these free kicks, and this is a really good spot for them to do the same.
It'll be interesting to see what they go with here. Under 6.5 to play. They're setting up with a good angle. McCormick is back there in the goal. And a great deflection by Hope. That one's going to be played out. It looks like Dalt was tripped up, and that would have been massive if he was able to get himself alone on a breakaway.
And that's a smart foul from the defender.
Absolutely.
He knew he had to stop him, otherwise Dalt was off to the races and going to capitalize on that play.
So a huge play, and like you said, Dalt would have been off to the races. That would have been fun to see. Him in the open field by himself, but smart play by Adrian to not allow that to happen. So Raymond will take this here with 6:08 to go. Knotted up at 2.
And that's
That
a good kick.
All the way in the box. And punched out. Adrian on the counter. Combs had it. Shishtari has it. Battle for it, and it'll stay with Adrian.
And both teams refuse to give up. It's really great to see, especially in the last minutes of this game.
Roller was able to get that cross off.
And that play will be offsides on Adrian. And McCormick has been very consistently good on his kicks, even given the wind conditions, just being able to get that ball in the other side of the field.
Does it again there.
And that's a strong header from Adrian. And a good double team from Hope to win that ball back.
Here's Wonder Gem.
And these balls in behind are really making the difference in terms of legs.
Wonder Gem puts it out in front. A shot that's going to be high and wide there by David White. He comes up just shaking his head as Logan Bilesma will come back in for Hope College here. 4:20 remaining.
And into the game for the Dutchman, number
Ben
2,
Hagman will come in
Logan Bilesma.
as well. Also a substitution for the Bulldogs, Mark Proctor, the senior from Ontario, coming in.
Number 6,
That was a good last play from Wonder Gem. One, strength to get around that corner and just place it where his men are open, wide open.
So here's Isaac Brock. With it, tried to cross it in, and that's deflected. And great job.
And a very smart play
There.
by Brock. He just has such a strong understanding of everything he wants to do with the ball, whether that's getting a corner for his team, taking it with speed, or giving his team the best opportunity to score.
Yep, and we will see the corner here, and guess who? James Raymond will take it. Steady force there, taking a lot of the set pieces, corner kicks, understanding that kind of skill he has with his foot. Raymond takes it all the way back by the goal, and a great chance off the head of a Flying Dutchman.
And that's a perfect ball. As a left-footed player, that's exactly what you want to see. That in-swinger that targets one player specifically in behind the defense where they can't really judge it or head it clearly.
Yeah, you can't ask for much better opportunity there from James Raymond on the corner kick. That one off the head of Christian Dahl. Now flown into the air, out of bounds. It'll be Hope College here. We're under 3 minutes, 2:40 remaining here.
And you see them with the momentum going into these final 2 minutes of the game.
It'll be turned over to Adrian now. They will throw it in. Both teams going to start pressing here as they understand the importance of these last couple minutes, and anything could happen. Tie game. Here's Brock.
With
He's
acres of
weaving his way.
space.
He was at pace.
And good
This one will
commitment
be
to
thrown
keep
in.
that ball.
This will be Hope here. Failed, yeah, like you said, a great play there. Good effort to shield off the Bulldog there. Just want to go all the way back to Binnick. Here's Holden Dipple.
And at this point, Adrian's defense is just looking for a breather. These last few minutes, Hope has been really good about getting forward and getting them in behind on their heels. So just being able to hold on to this win and possibly hold on to this tie and possibly counter will be very important for Adrian.
So whistle there. Going against Hope. Adrian will have it here. We're approaching 1 minute to play.
1 minute. 1 minute remaining in the second half.
Clock ticking under a minute.
And a really strong free kick from Adrian, but a strong header from Dipple on Hope's defense. And in these last seconds of the game, you can see the heightened anticipation as both teams are still very much in it.
So 20 seconds now remaining. This will be the last chance here for Hope. McCormick punts it down the field. Here's Bilesma in the air. Off his head. Here comes Bilesma. He's got a good look at it. 10 seconds to go. He shoots. Knocked down by Spencer Brown. And he will run out the clock here as we will be headed to overtime, a golden goal style overtime. Clock runs out on this second half. Still tied at 2-2. Action-packed second half.
Really great. And the Dutchman's ability to attack on both sides of the field has made a huge difference on their effectiveness during play.
So there'll be a quick break in the action here before overtime starting. Just 5 minutes for an action-packed overtime coming up. in just moments. We're ready for some overtime action here for Van Andel Soccer Stadium. Clayton Safey alongside Claire De Silva. And it's been an action-packed second half after kind of a slow first half. But both teams on their attack really opened things up in the second half, and we saw 4 goals total, 2 for each team, and now here we are tied up in overtime. Claire, what have you seen, especially in that second half, that made it such an exciting half of play?
We saw a lot of aggressive play from both sides. Both teams had a commitment to really finishing and sticking into all their tackles, every play that they're going into, and it got a little bit rowdy, but we like to see it from both sides. It just makes the game more interesting. One thing that Hope's offense was doing a little bit better was attacking down the left side as well as the right side. Their momentum shifted when they had that formation change, and then has kept their morale up ever since. On Adrian's side, they're very strong down the left side, and they do a great job of getting that ball in behind. So being able to expose Hope's defense and the gaps in the defense are super important during this overtime period.
And here we are back underway. Ben Hagman has it here for Hope. We'll start out with possession first in this overtime period. It will be golden goal, so first to score will go home as the winner here
You
in
see
overtime.
Adrian attacking down early with speed. And a PK in the box against the Dutchman. And Adrian has a chance to finish it right here.
Yep, it's going to be a penalty kick. That was just Holden Dipple tripping him up.
And that was the best he could do in that situation. Miller had cut in, and at that point, there's nothing you can do. There's no one there. So either a point-blank shot at on goal in the speed of play or PK.
And that's going to be punched in the back of the net. McCormick guessed wrong, and Adrian will go home as the winners here as they win 3-2 in overtime.
And a valiant effort from both sides. Could have been anyone's game, but such good composure to finish that play.
And Zach Combs for the Bulldogs puts it in on the penalty kick. Tough way to lose for Hope College, but a big win in overtime for Adrian here, 3-2 from Van Andel Soccer Stadium. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Clayton Safey and Claire De Silva, we appreciate you joining us here for this game. 3-2, Adrian beats Hope here at Hope College.